Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Westborough Board of Selectmen. It is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, and this meeting is being held remotely. I will read the governor's orders that allow us to meet as such. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting, including a public hearing of the Westborough Board of Selectmen, is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can view this meeting while in progress by Westborough TV's online platforms, youtube.com/Westborough TV and westboroughTV.org, or on Charter Channel 192 or Verizon Channel 28 online Channel 28, No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of Westborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by calling the Board of Selectmen's office at 508-366-3030 or sending an email to Selectmen, that's SELECTMEN, at town.westborough.ma.us to obtain the link to join the meeting. With that, Alan, if you would kindly bring up the agenda for us, and I'll just run through it. So we'll open with open forum. We do have one person speaking at that. We will review upcoming community events and activities. At 6:15, we'll have an update from our fire chief, public health director, and town manager on vaccines. At 6:30, we'll have a public hearing, which is a request to approve the transfer of an all alcohol license from, I'm going to say it, ANSTA Inc., ANSTA Inc., DBA Westborough House of Pizza and Pub to Saint Abanub and Pope Shenandoah. And again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing any of those. Inc., DBA Westborough House of Pizza. I'm getting a smile, so I probably messed it up. And again, I've already read that this is a public hearing, and if members of the public want to make comment for the purpose of this part of the meeting and the hearing, you can email Selectmen at town.westborough.ma.us to obtain a link to join the meeting for that portion. At 6:45, we'll have a request to concur with the town manager in the appointing of Edward Scher as Commissioner of Trust Funds. 6:50, Annual Arbor Day Proclamation. 6:55, request to amend policy on sidewalk snow plowing operations. 7:05, request to appoint members of the Land Prioritization Committee. 7:10, discussion vote for approval of public health director job description. Oh, excuse me, we're passing over that. I'm correct, Christy. Sorry. Number 9, we are passing over, as you see that on the screen. 7:20, request to approve meeting minutes. Folks, if you are not speaking, if you could just mute, that would be great.
I'm sorry?
If you could, George, if you could just mute, please, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's okay. No worries. Thanks. We'll have 7:20 request to approve meeting minutes for January 12, 2021. 7:25, we'll have a town manager report, and then 7:30, we'll conclude with issues and correspondence of the Selectmen. At 7:45, we will have an executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate at 37 Belknap Street, 0 Ruggo Street, 64 Otis Street, and to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. And that is tonight's agenda. So with that, I'd like to recognize Mr. Andy Koningsberg. If you would, just for the record, state your name, full name, and your address, and then you have the floor for your allotted time. Andy, we can't hear you.
Yeah, there's a message there. Are you talking? Anyway, Andrew Koningsberg, 3 Smith Street. This is regarding the master plan public meeting last week. After participating in last Thursday's master plan public meeting, I have some observations and recommendations about future meetings where public input is requested. First, a couple of observations. I thought that the breakout groups were not adequate for allowing residents to provide feedback on the plan. After a breakout leader spent anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes describing their section of the plan, and the 7 people in my group had almost no time for comment or really meaningful discussion. I had planned on attending the meeting for a while, but did not know about the goals and actions until I got the email from Kristen Ballinger from the planning department. I'm among those people who do not go to the master plan website on a regular basis, so I was ignorant about the availability of the goals and actions. In preparation for the meeting, I wrote at least a paragraph on several of the goals and actions once I had read them, but the meeting had no venue to provide them back to the master planning committee. Since I could not provide my comments at the meeting, I subsequently went to the master plan website and tried to use the comments function to submit my comments. However, the comments entry had a 150 character limit, which is only 10 more characters than a tweet. And compare this with the Westborough town website, where I was able to enter comments about the town employee study. There I could enter a couple of pages worth of comments. I understand that this limitation has now since been removed from the master plan comments form. 3 recommendations. To provide adequate public opportunity to comment on the plan, I suggest holding extended public feedback meetings where people have adequate time to express their commentary on every section of the plan. I'd say at least an hour for each given part of the plan, not 15 minutes for several people. Give people enough time for satisfactory comments and discussion. Second, implement an outreach program. The Climate Action Plan Task Force has had or plans to have 15 such outreach meetings, seeking commentary from various groups, town committees, and clubs, including those outside town government, such as the Rotary, the Land Trust, the Civic Club, the Garden Club, and the 495 Metro West Partnership. Last, add a special commentary page on the master plan website containing the list of goals and actions with text area inputs below them where people could then write extended comments. It's not a complex project for a web application development perspective. Of course, you'd have to advertise the existence of this comment page on the website. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present at public forum.
Thank you very much.
So, Madam Chair, was this the only open forum person that was asked that wanted to speak?
That's correct.
I thought that I saw like a bunch of emails from other residents that wanted to speak. I'm just trying to understand why they were not allowed. I mean,
Yep, sure. So Selectman Hashmi is referring to residents who wanted to speak to at open forum regarding an issue we discussed at our meeting on February 9th in open forum and as an agenda item which pertained to the Westborough Village water situation. As Selectman Hashmi and all members of the board and our town manager and DPW director are aware, as well as our director of health, who's also on the call. Hi, Steve. All of those requests were responded to in a specific letter regarding the purpose of open forum, as well as the discussion that will take place tonight during the town manager's update.
So I'm just trying to understand that if a resident, and I guess I'm trying to understand, I thought the purpose of open forum was a venue for residents to express their concerns. I think
it absolutely is. And as I personally had conversations with many of those residents today, and as you saw in the email that was sent out by me as the chair to all of those individuals, the purpose of open forum is exactly that. It is to hear from residents. However, once we hear from residents on an issue, the action of the board is to either refer the matter to a department for action or to place it on a future agenda item. At the meeting on February 9th, we said as a board that it was being undertaken and it was actively, as we all know, being managed and handled through our DPW and our town and water and sewer manager. And so to bring those individuals back through the open forum process for 3 minutes in a process that is not interactive with the board. It's not intended, as we just heard from Mr. Koningsberg. He presented his information. There's no engagement by the board other than to listen. It really serves no purpose. So
Actually, I disagree. I think it does.
Selectman Hashmi, I'm as chair, it is my purview to manage the agenda and the open forum. All of those individuals have been reached out to, and you saw the email that went. In fact, I think because we're talking about this, I'm going to read that email that went out just for the purpose of clarity. The email that was sent to individuals reads as follows. Thank you for taking the time to contact the Board of Selectmen. I am the current chair of the board, and in that capacity, I am responding to your email. The Board of Selectmen are very aware of the issues raised by residents of Westborough Village with respect to their water. The town, through the Department of Public Works, has actively been working with, responding to, and assisting Westborough Village with this issue. The purpose of open forum is for the board to hear concerns and, as appropriate, refer the issue to town departments or place an item on a future agenda. At our February 9 meeting, 2021, the Westborough Village Homeowners Association participated in the open forum and through an agenda item. As all possible outcomes of open forum presentation have occurred and are in process, we will not entertain this issue in open forum again at this time. During the February 9 meeting, the board made clear its awareness of the issue and acknowledged the ongoing engagement of the town, including deployment of personnel and resources such as water testing and line flushing. The board also reminded the HOA of its deeded responsibility to maintain and service the water lines that support and service Westborough Village as a private development having a private water system. The Westborough Village Homeowners Association is legally responsible for the maintenance and repair of the system, as well as periodic testing and reporting. The town and board are presently working with the Westborough Village HOA to schedule a meeting to discuss this matter in further detail. I expect the board to discuss this matter during the town manager's update portion of our agenda at our meeting this evening. The meeting can be watched via Westborough TV government live stream, via cable, Charter Channel 192 or Verizon 28, or via Westborough TV YouTube. We remain open to broader public discussion on this matter should that become necessary, but after further work by all parties has taken place. I want to thank you again for raising your concern to the board. Regards, Shelby Marshall, Chair of the Westborough Board of Selectmen. So, yes, Christy.
I also have this item on my town manager report if you want me to just report that now.
Yeah, you know what, since we're talking about it, why don't we do that? And I'll apologize to the audience that we're going a little bit out of agenda item format.
I'll just be specific to this issue. So hard flushing of the water pipes in Westborough Village was completed yesterday, Monday, February 22nd. The DPW spoke to a resident of Westborough Village today who confirmed that the water is running clear. The DPW discussed the actions that have occurred to date, including the recent resident water samplings with the Mass DEP. Mass DEP agreed with the steps taken so far and with the responses provided by the DPW to the Westborough Village residents. The DPW will continue to work with the HOA to confirm next steps and help update residents on progress made so far. The DPW director will be reaching out to the HOA to schedule a meeting.
So what about, so Chrissy, hello? Hello?
Yep, we're listening, Syed.
Okay. So Christy, what about, I guess the biggest, so there are several concerns. I think one of the, at least as best as I can from the emails, I'll just.
Syed, I want to be clear. This is not an agenda item to be discussed. And it's not.
I mean, are we going to just, so what
it's
are
not,
we going to?
Syed, it is not fair to the rest of the public, nor, quite frankly, I think it's legal because it's not on our agenda. So therefore, the rest of the public has not been notified to have this discussion about this matter. So if you want
the
to bring
town
up
manager's report, am I not allowed to ask questions
yes,
about the
of course you are. Of course you are as part of that report. So if this is specific to that, then yeah. If this is specific to questions regarding the town manager's update, then of course you are.
Okay, so am I allowed to at least ask? I think one of the concerns that was, and this was, by the way, discussed, I think was raised by me at when this issue was discussed by the board. I think one of the concerns is that that there's a dead end being created because I think the system was constructed, which was approved by the town. We allowed that system to be constructed, but then we shut off one of the valves, and that has led to a dead end situation.
Okay, so if I can interject, this is not in response to the town manager's statements. In the town manager's report, this is starting to discuss the details of the issue. And I'll point out that we actually haven't documented or found documentation of when the valve was changed, if it was ever even open to that development. And so this process is being worked through with the DPW and other resources of the town. And we need to let them do their work. Regardless of that valve, we are aware that it's pretty clear that the homeowners association has been negligent in their lack of maintenance of the system. To some degree, we don't know the exact extent of that, which is a contributing factor. So we don't understand the cause or the issues behind this. So we should let the departments that involved and the resources involved and the DP do their work and move forward.
So and I think you're raising, I think it's totally appropriate for this board to raise questions that can be addressed as part of this issue. And I would encourage all of us to submit those questions to our town manager to make sure that they are addressed. And I'm like you, I'm very well aware of the third valve. I'm not calling it a dead end, the third valve. And I think that that needs to be answered. But again, that's not the purpose of our time here. So are there other questions regarding the town manager's update?
No.
Okay. 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 So, oh, I'm sorry, Ian, go ahead.
Sorry, Selectman Marshall, can I, if I could, I mean, I think that to Selectman Hashby's comments, I mean, I think we're all aware. I mean, this is something that we're well aware the departments are working on. There are questions out there. I think it's been addressed, and I think in the town manager's comments, we continue to work on it. And as I heard it, the DPW director is working to set up a meeting with the homeowners association and also with the residents to continue to work through the issues here, to figure out the problems and get to the resolution of the issue. I think that's what we all are searching for. This is not, I don't want this to be perceived, and I don't think any of us are trying to make it perceived that we're not doing anything except acting in response to the matters that were brought before us. It's, it's a complex issue. It's been worked on before our last meeting. It's been worked on multiple times. I believe the full high-powered flushing was done earlier this week, as was promised, and work continues. But I think it needs its time to let this process work out. We're monitoring it. We should be monitoring it. We've heard loud and clear from the residents. We heard again in the emails, and I think it was appropriate that we didn't need to have open forum to hear what we've already heard, and we know the issues, and we're working to fix them. And I think we all want to work to continue to do that, and that's what I heard in the town manager's report, is that work is happening, continues to happen, and will be kept informed, as will the residents, as to the process and the progress.
So will there be a meeting between the DPW and the board, the HOA? Christy, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan. And we also are hoping, we want the residents to have access to that meeting. So that's the next step, is to set that meeting up.
Okay. And then when that is set up, will you be informing the board of the date and time?
I can let you know, but at this point, I'm not sure that it would be a Board of Selectmen meeting. So, certainly it will.
So we can just listen quietly.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely let you know when it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on to upcoming community events and activities. Do any members of the board have an item they'd like to announce? Yes, Alan.
Just a reminder that annual town election day is March 2nd from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Town Hall, not its usual location of the high school. And that mail-in ballots, applications, and ballots are out, and that process is happening. If you're voting by mail, do so early enough so it gets there by end of day on election day, or drop it off in the black box in front of Town Hall.
Ian.
Yes, just a announcement that the annual Boy Scout spaghetti dinner for our seniors is happening this year, March 20th. And a little bit different this year will be, typically we've run it out of the congregational church and had seniors in attendance. Of course, with these times, as we all know, we can't do this. We are working closely with the senior center. We will be operating it out of the senior center with their kind of supervision. The senior center director is helping with that, and we'll be doing as they have done for their other monthly meal programs. Will be kind of a drive through pickup process to be delivered. COVID protocols will all be followed and adhered to. We'll work with the Board of Health, as I said, and the senior center, who have gone through this multiple times, just to make sure that everything's safe. And there will also be a opportunity for those seniors that are not able to do the drive-by and kind of car side delivery that scouts and their parents will deliver to their doors the spaghetti dinner to them. So just getting out there for seniors. They will hear about it. We posted on the senior center newsletter, the senior center website. There'll be reach out there as well, and just getting the note out. And we hope to serve as many seniors. The Boy Scouts hope to serve as many seniors as possible for this kind of annual tradition.
It's great traditions. Good to see it carrying on in some form in these times. It's important. Okay.
One other quick thing.
Yep, please.
I forgot. This Saturday, the 27th, the Girl Scouts are doing a COVID-safe textile drive at the high school.
Always a popular event. Clean out.
Very popular event, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for reminding us, Alan.
Yep. Syed, anything from you?
It's not an event, but I just wanted to mark a number. If it's to be believed, over 500,000 of our fellow neighbors in this country have passed. And I didn't know if the board wanted to take a moment of silence. There have been over 60 deaths in our own community. Over 15,000 residents in Massachusetts have passed. I didn't know if we wanted to just take a moment to reflect on that.
I think that's a great idea. Why don't we do that right now? Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. I know that the flags, I believe, have been lowered to half-mast as well. I saw that today when I was driving through town. So with that, Christy, I just need some guidance here. I know the public hearing is supposed to start at 6:30. We have a very important vaccine update. I know the chief is toggling between meetings. So some guidance here as to if we should just proceed with the public hearing and flip those items, if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, you'll need to wait till 6:30 to start it, the public hearing, but you should do the public hearing.
Okay, can we bump up the town manager, concurrence with the town manager to appoint Edward Scher?
Sure.
Fit that in? Okay, let's do that. And just so Chief Purcell and Steve, are you okay to be flip-flopped? Okay, thank you. Okay. So George, we're getting to you. We'll be there on time. Thank you. Okay, Christy, please.
I just wanted to add to your upcoming events that the board is holding the chicken and poultry bylaw, animal control bylaw amendment on March 4th at 6:30.
And that has been advertised, right, Christy?
Yep.
So we should be seeing that through maybe the Community Advocate and one other source.
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So Ed Schur has reached out to be appointed to the Commissioner of Trust Funds. This is an appointment by the town manager with the concurrence of the board. So this is a 3-person committee with 2 residents and the treasurer, and it's a 3-year appointment. The position's been vacant since June 30th. Included in your packet was an email from Mr. Schur with his background. He's certainly qualified to serve in this role and has already reached out to the treasurer and the finance director to understand more about the role and to offer, his background. So I'm looking for concurrence by the board.
So I would move to concur with the town manager's appointment of Edward Schur to the Commissioners of Trust Funds for a term to end June 30th, 2023.
I would second that, Selectman Johnson.
So, Christy, are we allowed to ask questions about this appointment?
Yep, of course.
So I'm just wondering, when you're appointed, so I recognize that I believe he's an investment professional, and I'm just wondering, when he has his own business, when he's appointed to this role as a Commissioner of Trust Fund, does he then have a fiduciary responsibility to the residents and the town of Westborough?
You mean in his?
In his role as a Commissioner of our trust funds? In a sense that are there any potential conflicts of interest because he has his own business, he invests with other fund, I guess, other fund companies. I'm just wondering, is there a conflict of interest of having somebody with that managing our trust funds? Is there some language that puts a fiduciary responsibility on him to
So the town works very closely with a financial advisor, and certainly it's the role of the entire board or the 3 board of commissioners. If there's a need for some sort of disclosure, we would have him fill it out at that time.
Okay.
And Christy, I would imagine he is subject to the same, conflict as a appointed member. He'll be subject to the same conflict of interest and ethics.
Right. Exactly. He has to sign off.
Appointed or elected official is.
Yep. So he has to sign off on receipt of the laws, and then also take the same ethics test that we all have to take, and that all of you have to take.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or discussion by the board? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. I'll roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes.
Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes, 4004 being present. We concur. I was remiss in mentioning just an event that's happening this Saturday. I think many of us are aware of it. It's we have some local residents who are spending a night in the cold on Saturday night downtown, and they're raising money for the Massachusetts Coalition for the Homeless. So you can stop by and sort of cheer them on. They've got a really it's a really interesting story about a connection they also made with a gentleman in Worcester who is homeless and why they're doing it, and it's very interesting. So stop by and support them. It's going to be a rainy night, but they're doing great work. So congratulations to them. Okay, and with that, I'm waiting for that clock to turn to 6:30. Mine says 6:29.
Just hit 6:30.
Okay, so
Thank you.
would you like me to move that we open the public hearing in regard to the transfer of license application for Westborough House of Pizza at 36 East Main Street?
I would.
And I will second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote to open the public hearing. Selectman Hashmi? Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And just make sure, Selectman Hashmi, if you're speaking, you're on mute. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, and Marshall, yes, 400 to open the public hearing. And so with that, Christy, I'll turn it over to you to introduce this, please.
Yep, I just wanted to mention that we are monitoring the Selectmen email address during the public hearing and can provide the link to the public hearing so that people can participate. So you just send an email, like was said earlier, selectmen@town.westborough.ma.us. So this is a transfer of liquor license from Westborough House of Pizza because it was sold. The manager of record for the premises will be George Swiha.
Swiha, yeah. George
Swiha,
Swiha.
okay. And so Mr. Swiha he is tip certified by Health Communications Inc. and he is on the call so he can answer questions.
Welcome, Mr. Swiha. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to just introduce yourself to the board, and then Christy will take us through sort of the process here.
Yeah, I'm George Swiha. I will be the owner of 100% of Westborough House of Pizza. I'm 45 years old. I live in 8 Janice Circle at Framingham, Massachusetts. I've been in the business for over 20 years in the restaurant business.
All right. Well, I hope you know how to make great pizza. All right. Are there, I think we'll have questions first, if there are any for Mr. Swiha from the board. Sayed, I saw you came off mute. Okay, Ian, Selectman Johnson.
Yeah, Mr. Sawyer, thank you for your application and congratulations on purchasing the business. I guess the question is any changes that you're proposing in terms of the kind of running of the restaurant and the use of the license?
No, actually, there is no changes. I will keep it as it is, as the running. It's very successful and I wish to keep it the same. So there is no changes in anything.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Alan?
Okay, well, Ian asked my question, so I won't duplicate, but I just also want to welcome you to the Westborough business community.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
And I look for hopefully my loyalty points transfer over.
Thank you so much
through the Toast app.
So, Dr. Swiha, I'm like, sorry, Mr. Swiha, I want to also extend that welcome. Westborough House of Pizza has been around for many, many years, generations, and now different owners, and it's a popular place. So I'm glad that the work in the business will continue. I do want to stress the board's seriousness of which we take the liquor license. Usually Mr. Selectman Johnson does this, so I'm paraphrasing I think he has a canned language, so I'm paraphrasing here, but we do take the liquor license very seriously. We know that being tip certified, you do as well. We would expect you to adhere to all aspects of that license and, use it, don't abuse it, as they say. Hopefully it generates lots of revenue for you and your business and enjoyment for the town.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and probably I will keep everything as it is, and we're taking the liquor license very seriously here. Everyone, we know how to deal with liquors, and wish me good luck.
You have our support and that of the town. I think you'll find Westborough to be continuous support of a great business.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'll entertain a motion by the board. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. Christy or Kim or Sheila, whoever's monitoring, is there anyone that wishes to speak from the public?
No.
Okay, I thought we had one resident contact us by email asking to speak. Is that person not on?
We did. I don't know. There's a phone number on here that I don't know.
So whoever's phone number ends in 16.
You want to come off mute? Yep. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, for the person who's joining us by phone with a phone number that ends in 16, are you here to speak at the public hearing for the liquor license transfer? Just one more time. I know these meetings can be confusing if you haven't been on it. For the person joining us by phone with the phone number ending in 16, are you here to speak at the public hearing? Alan, can you just message that person in the event that they had this up as well somehow?
Is it Courtney?
Being that we're not in person, I just want to make sure we don't miss anyone's comments.
I've sent an email to the individual to see if
You want to talk, Courtney?
it's the same person.
Okay. Are there, Kim, any other comments or requests to comment, excuse me? No, okay. All right. All right,
If we can wait just a minute, maybe.
yep, we will just wait just a minute. Appreciate the public's patience. Public hearings are an important event, and we want to make sure it's fair to all. Okay. I think with that, if we haven't heard back, we should move on. Is the board okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. We don't do this often enough. Christy, we close the public hearing, then we take a vote. Is that correct? No.
No.
Vote first and then.
Sorry. Thank you. All right. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Okay, I can. I move to approve the transfer of license application for Westborough House of Pizza at 36 East Main Street, naming George Sweha as the manager.
And I'll second that. Selectman Johnson.
Any discussion by the board on the motion? Okay, with that, I'll call for a roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes.
Okay. Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes, 4004 being present. Congratulations, Mr. Sweha, and thank you. Okay. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move we close the public hearing on the transfer of license application for Westborough House of Pizza at 36 East Main Street.
And I'll second that. Selectman Johnson.
Okay, been seconded. All right, roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi? Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
Coming back around to you, Selectman Hashmi?
Yes.
Okay. Selectman Marshall, yes, 4004 being present. Congratulations, Mr. Sweha. This ends, unless you want to stay on and listen to us, but it sounds like you have more important things to attend to.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
I
Thanks,
just want
everyone.
Mr. Swear, are you, in terms of getting the license, Christy, anything you need to communicate in terms of now that we voted that? And
You can just pick up the license from Karen in the selectman's office. So she'll reach out to you when it's ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
You too. Congratulations.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to switch back to the third agenda item, which was a vaccine update from our fire chief, public health director, and town manager. Chief Purcell, you ready to go on that, or do you need a few minutes?
No, I'm ready to go.
Okay, all right. And I received a message that Selectman Hashmi, when you are speaking, please make sure we can hear you, because it's difficult for the public to hear you even though their volume is up. So I just remind you of that. Thank you. Okay, I'll turn it over to Pat Christine C. Thank you.
Thanks. So we just wanted to provide an update. As I'm sure everyone is aware, last week we received a letter from Secretary Sutters letting us know that they would no longer be giving first dose vaccines to municipalities. So the great planning and great work that we heard from Chief Purcell that was being done by the fire department and the Board of Health in terms of planning vaccination clinics was something that we were not going to be able to move forward with in the same way. The letter was pretty specific that towns would be able to receive second doses so that we could fully vaccinate people we had already started vaccinating, and that there was an ability for towns to do programs for homebound seniors, as well as senior affordable housing and low income developments. And so we met to sort of pivot and figure out how we were going to move forward. And so one other way that towns can, sorry, there's feedback.
Chief, if you could go on mute, just thank you.
So one other way that towns could give out vaccine is if they were able to stand up a regional clinic that could give a minimum of 750 doses per day, 5 days a week. Obviously, that's not something that the town would be able to do by itself, especially given that, our first responders wouldn't be available. That's obviously a significant effort. And so we have been in contact with some other communities. So I think I'm going to let Steve and Pat take it from here.
Sure, I can pick up, and Pat, jump in. So, we did reach out to the state to try to form a collaborative with some of the towns, Northborough, Hopkinton, Southborough, Ashland, and Sherburne, I think. I could have missed someone there, but the feedback coming back right now is that it doesn't look promising. These collaboratives are giving priority based upon, where the vaccine is available right now. And, there are other places like Natick and Worcester, and we hear things that there may be something opening up in Marlborough. So we're still fighting to get designated as a regional spot, but at least the first feedback I've gotten is that doesn't look that great, but we'll still fight. I got to thank the Northborough health agent, Kristen Black, for taking this on. She's been a great, mouthpiece for the collaborative, and we'll still push, but that's where we are right now. I don't know if you want to say anything, Pat, or add on to that.
I'll go on the record. I'll be the one to publicly speak on behalf of the local programs that were going on. I thought that the town of Westborough put a pretty robust system together. We worked pretty hard on the logistics, and just so we're clear and the residents know exactly what is going on, there's about a 15-year history of establishing emergency dispensing sites, of which we have 2 in town. The public health department has a whole manual on how that operates. We get training and certification. It's inspected annually. And frankly, the carpet was pulled out from beneath us running these programs. And a lot of people deflected to private businesses that can vaccinate somewhere around 60 to 80 people a day. And frankly, we were doing that per hour. So it's really disheartening to see everything that's gone on. But I would just like to say that we're going to keep, like Steve said, plugging ahead, trying to get vaccine. We do have some homebound people that really need our assistance, and we'll do our best to acquire what we can. It doesn't look great, but we're not done. I've been pretty outspoken in a couple different forums about this. One here, one at the Fire Chiefs Association in Massachusetts, and we're not alone in this fight. And I don't know. I just like to thank Christy and Steve for everything they've done working with me up until this point.
We did send, just so the residents know, we did send a letter under our 3 signatures to the delegation asking for their support in obtaining vaccine for the town. And, you know, Pat through his Fire Chief Association, myself and Kim through our Managers Association. I know Alma has spoken through her association. And I'm sure the health directors as well have all expressed frustration because we all feel that we should be able to vaccinate locally, specifically our most vulnerable population, also our DPW, who are the next step of this phase, as well as our school teachers. So we all we're going to continue to fight for it. But at this point, I think the message needs to be really clear that if you can get an appointment elsewhere, please do not wait. If you are eligible and you can get an appointment elsewhere, please do not wait for the town's clinic, because we don't know when we'll get vaccine.
So Shelby, are we allowed to make comments?
Yeah, of course. Yep, we're just going to open it up. Go ahead.
Okay,
please.
so first, obviously, thank you to Steve, Chief Purcell, and Christy for your advocacy on this. And I'm just to be careful, I'm just speaking now as a selectman, but I also am a member of the Board of Health, but I'm not speaking in that role. And I know that several residents have reached out to me to complain about this. And I just to echo what has been said, I share your frustration. You know, the thing with these large sites is that it depends on it prioritizes people that can drive there safely, and then have the time and to go there and get this done. What the chief and Steve were trying to do was to keep this local, do it in where the seniors were living. This is far more effective. It puts far less stress on our residents. So it is, this, as the chief, I believe, said, and I agree with him, it's a travesty. Not only is this a travesty, the sign up for, as several people have talked to me, is also a separate disaster, which is, and I'm just wondering, is it, I'm just spitballing here. Is there any role? I mean, I know we have sent letters to our elected officials. Is there any role of our, encouraging our residents, hey, reach out to our state reps. This is not working.
I mean, I don't think that we would discourage that. I know that there are residents who have already reached out. So,
absolutely.
Okay.
I just to kind of expand on what Syed said, if you really sit back and you look at a community, a lot of things were built around supporting yourselves, meaning the community supporting the community. And we really tried to embrace the fact that there would be technology and mobility issues for a lot of residents, particularly 75 and over. And that's really what we built our plan around. So to have that taken away it's just disheartening.
Chief, and that's the real issue. I mean, a lot of these elderly people wanted you to come. I mean, that's what they wanted. They wanted you. They were actually looking forward to. And then the other separate thing is that this would have built relations between us and our own residents. I mean, this would just be another way to bind us to our residents. And why are they going to need it when you and Steve are our fire chief, our Board of Health director, and
yeah, I'll just say this, and I'll kind of build on what Pat has said, that, the taxpayers have paid for me to participate in emergency preparedness now for, 7 years as director, and many years before that, spent tons of, I was chair of the Region 2 Emergency Preparedness Coalition for 5 years, spent a lot of time doing that. And it's not just me, it's all the local towns were doing this. And, and to not use the plans and the experience and the equipment that we've acquired. I have a whole room full of stanchions and signs, and it's just such a waste. And, again, this has been echoed across the state and to legislatures and that sort of thing. So I don't know. I just wanted to get that out.
So as for going forward, we do have some vaccine for second dose for clinics that we had already done in town. There's some phase 1 and mostly phase 1 that's left, and a couple of phase 2. We'll be wrapping those up over the next, I think, 7 days. And really beyond that, Steve can comment more, but I don't think we have the ability today to order for first doses for anybody. We're pretty much isolated to second dose only. And fortunately, we do have the doses to fulfill the obligation we had to the people that came for first dose. And if I can just give one plug while we're here, Doubletree Hotel has bent over backwards for $0 to help the town of Westborough since vaccine became available. And we've probably vaccinated over 1,000 people in their facility, and they've been great. So I just wanted to give an opportunity to mention them. Thanks.
Alan and then Ian.
A quick question with the second dosing, that includes the patient-facing medical staff. I know that you had visited doctors and dentists and other medical professionals, so they'll excellent. Thank you.
Yes, that's this Friday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share the frustration, but I think first off, just to echo the thanks to the three of you and others on your teams I know have helped out, and ask the residents to say thank you for all the work that's done. I mean, we did this, and I think Chief Purcell said we had established this. We've shown that we can do it. We've done it before, and then basically the rug got pulled out from underneath us after going through all this process, and it's extremely frustrating. Personally, I think as we talk about, as Selectman Hashby said, and we talk about seniors and those that are homebound, whether that's physically or whether that's mentally because of this pandemic, it's really frustrating when you look at the state. And I don't want to politicize this, but I guess I'm going to, is that we went in and we basically have vaccinated prisoners in our prisons, but we have basically prisoners in their homes here in Westborough that are our seniors that are scared to go out of their houses and have not gone out of their houses in a year. We have those that can't go out of their houses, and we can't vaccinate them. And that's really, really frustrating to me. And it just, honestly, it brings tears to my eyes. This is not how the state should be allowing us to operate. We want to take care of our citizens. We bent over backwards. The three of you here, thank you immensely for all that you've done. And it's just really frustrating. I know it's more frustrating for you for all the work you put in, but this is just not right for the residents of Westborough. It's really disheartening to me. It's not fair. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. So I just want to take a moment I won't repeat the thanks. I think you're hearing that profusely from the board and to everyone that is behind the faces we're seeing today that helped stand up the work that's already been done and in the continued advocacy, because I know that you guys have been on many calls since then, advocating and writing letters and all of that, and certainly want the public to appreciate that. I do want to, I guess, pass along that the COVID task force continues to meet, and that group, has had discussions, and certainly Christy's aware of this, and about if there are ways in which the community can help, and certainly I know our town departments are supportive of this, in standing up some sort of call center or something. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of our skis on this, but Christy is well aware of that. As Steve, I see you nodding. I mean, there are many people that have since reached out to me that said, how can we help? Can we bring people, for rides once the system allows us to set up an appointment? So I just want the public to know that just because we're sort of at this place that feels like we've reached a dead end, it's not, because the work and the advocacy will still continue. But I think that what you're hearing from our town officials is that the reality of the situation, and I can't stress enough what Christy's already said, and that is, if you have a chance to get a vaccine someplace, get one. And if you do have issues with getting a ride, contact the senior center, let them know what your challenge is, and we'll see, I think as a community, contact your neighbor. People are willing to help for sure. But extremely frustrating. And to echo Syed's point, reach out to your representative and senator and let them know how you're feeling, because this is a big swing and a miss from the state on this one. So.
Last thing.
Madam Chair, can I,
Yeah.
am I allowed to make one other comment?
Yeah, just Chief Purcell, please, and then Saya, go ahead after.
I was just going to say, if this is the last time we're speaking about this publicly, I just wanted to give a shout out to my department and some of the administrative assistants throughout other departments that have helped us, because although we put the plan together, they really did all the work, and that's what made us successful. The firefighters, paramedics, the dispatchers, and a lot of the administrative assistants that stepped up, they really did the bulk of the work. So I just wanted to say thanks to them.
Yeah, and if I could pig pile on that, Pat has done a tremendous job. I couldn't have done this without him and his people. And then I'd also like to thank Dr. Ehrlich. He came to every clinic that we had to do consults as needed. So it's been a real good, collaborative, program throughout town. So just wanted to add that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Syed?
Yes, well, and this is a somewhat poignant moment for me, because this is, I believe, the last time Steve will be speaking to us as our director of the Board of Health. And I just wanted to recognize his extraordinary dedication and service to our residents for constantly going above and beyond to ensure the health and safety of our residents. And I just wanted to, that, in our website, it's, in our mission statement, Steve has truly been an essential participant in protecting and improving the health and well-being of all the people of Westborough. And I was hoping that the board would sign on. I've sent a draft proclamation to Christie and Sheila. I'm hoping that the board can recognize Mr. Bakari's extraordinary service to the residents of our town.
Yep. You're seeing, not sure if you can see the screen, Saya, but we're seeing nods from the board. So
yeah, I think if Sheila is on the call, you have, I think, what you can work on what I gave you then. Okay, I think you have it. She's on the call.
So yes, Steve, thank you.
Yeah, well,
You're embarrassing.
I know. Well, I'm gonna extend that a little bit more. Sometimes things are worth carrying on. I picked up in the mail, and I will provide a copy here, because copies were provided for all the board members. I apologize, I didn't get these back into your mailboxes. I didn't realize that until I opened the letter. But I received, as we all did, a lovely letter from Belinda Canal. She's located in Westborough. I won't read her address. But she wrote a letter, and I'm just going to quickly, sorry? I just want to quickly paraphrase her letter. It's in response to her mom lives at the Highlands, and I'm piling on here with the accolades of the work that was done, because it's a wonderful letter. This letter is to give high praise with overwhelming gratitude to the Westborough Fire Department and Board of Health's compassion and sense of duty to Westborough seniors by holding a COVID-19 vaccine clinic at the Highlands on February 1st. She goes on to share some other information, basically that the Highlands residents were initially given some information by their corporate offices, but those plans fell through and there was no plan to help them. In the meantime, Ms. Canal had spoken with Ray Gauthier at the Board of Health earlier with COVID questions. I was so impressed with his information and eagerness to help that I called Ray again to explain all that had happened with the Highlands, expressing his desperate need to get help to these folks. Ray said that Fire Chief Pat Purcell would be the person who could help us best. And she goes on to tell a little bit about her mom. And then she talks about the coordination between Chief Purcell and the manager of the Highlands, Ms. McElhaney. And then she closes with, this event was highly organized, masks were worn, social distancing practiced, and all residents were treated with great respect and care as they received their shots from the Westborough Fire Department. My mom's experience was perfect, as Nate Abushon from the Westborough Fire Department showed her great patience and loving kindness as he explained everything to her. My family moved to Westborough when I was 10 years old, and I delighted in raising two daughters here as well. How proud I was to see the town I love for so long protecting our most vulnerable. So the letter goes on, but Ian, to your point, the situation brings tears to your eyes. These are good tears, and I think it reflects all that the board is conveying here, and certainly the public feels about our teams and their work. So thank you. Okay. Oh, Syed? No. Okay.
Shelby, just one thing is we were speaking, something came across on my computer that, and folks probably already know it, but there was a large contingent of state senators and reps that did send a letter to the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the secretary yesterday, echoing what we've talked about here, that basically this change in course of going to these mass sites versus local communities is not the most effective way to do it. So just for folks to know, and as was said earlier, it's, we've reached out to legislators, they are reaching out and pushing back, and hopefully that has some help and we're not giving up, as was said here, but just so folks know that it has been listened to and they've passed it on. Whether it helps, we'll see, but we're trying.
So just in closing, because I know that both the senior center, I'm pretty sure the fire department and Board of Health continue to get questions about the vaccine. What is the best information? Where should folks go at this point with those questions? Assuming, I know there's a 211 number. If you're 75 plus, you can call that for assistance. I don't know if they ask you if you're 75 plus when you get on the phone, or you can just call it. But I'm sure there's also a web source that, Steve, you want to chime in on.
Yeah, so you could try your best to get on through the State Department of Public Health's website. Does have the registration system to register for online for clinics. Kind of hit or miss right now. My understanding is tough to get appointments, but that's probably the preferred way. Again, like you mentioned, Shelby, 211. If you aren't into the computer thing, you can call them. They can try to find an appointment based upon your location. So those are kind of the two things we're telling people right now.
Okay, because I know that Board of Health, working with other departments, schools, et cetera, are still doing a ton of work with contact tracing. So to the extent, it's not that you guys don't want to be helpful, but to the extent that folks can use the website or call 211, I say overwhelm that system with phone calls and call for help. Chief?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be doing my job unless I brought this up. Also, Code Red, we used that last Sunday, and we put the email link to VAX Finder, VAX Finder, on their email portion of that. So that's also another link, the actual link right to register.
Okay.
And Code Red would be make sure you're signed up for Code Red, because if anything does change going forward, we would likely be sending something out via Code Red.
Can we talk about that real quick? If
Yeah.
anybody's watching this and they want to know, if they go to the town's website on the homepage, click on the Code Red icon, they can register themselves. I've registered a lot of people, and that doesn't have to come through me.
But if you are having trouble registering for Code Red, you can also call the COVID hotline, which is still active.
Okay. And that information is also available on the town's website. Okay. All right. Well, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you, Chief Purcell. Steve, we know you're going to be around, so it's this. The thanks, the proclamation. Thank you, Syed, for taking that initiative. Thank you for all that you've done, Steve. And we'll see you around, just in another different venue. So, okay. I believe we have our DPW Director, Chris Pant, here for our next agenda item, Annual Arbor Day Proclamation. And apologies to the public for running long, but I think that was an important discussion. Hi, Chris. How are you this evening?
Hi, good evening. I don't know that I have a role here, other than I think someone's supposed to read the proclamation.
Well, yes, this is just an annual. This is an annual thing that we do. The Arbor Day Proclamation. The DPW gets the small saplings that people can pick up. I don't know if you have information yet, Chris, about when those become available.
We're actually doing something a little different. We've arranged, we're in the process of coordinating with one of the elementary school, Armstrong, to do a tree planting there on Arbor Day. Details still to be worked out, but something a little more impactful than handing out the seedlings, but that's still being worked out.
Great, thanks. So the board just needs to read the proclamation, to move to approve and read the proclamation.
Sure, but I can do that if you want.
And I was, yeah, I
Oh,
had you in mind.
Ian, you beat me to it. Go for it.
Okay, I move to approve the following proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed through the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in the town of Westborough increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy. Therefore, be it resolved that the Westborough Board of Selectmen acknowledges the importance of National Arbor Day, which we celebrate on April 30th, 2021. And therefore, be it further resolved that the Westborough Board of Selectmen urges all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day in Westborough on April 30th, 2021, by either planting a tree or maintaining existing trees to promote the well-being of this and future generations, proclaimed by the Westborough Board of Selectmen on February 23rd, 2021.
Thank you. Ooh, that's the,
I second.
thank you.
Are we allowed? I mean, I reckon. Are we allowed to have a discussion?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, moved and seconded. Open for discussion.
Okay, so I have nothing against this proclamation. I'm all for this. But one of the things that I had talked earlier about is that we need to put some teeth behind what we're saying, and I don't know how to do that. I mean, I believe Cambridge has a law that anytime you cut a tree, you have to plant a tree. So I don't know at some point if we should. I mean, if we're really serious about climate change and climate mitigation, then we should be, protecting the trees that we have and then adding to them. Consider the fact, I believe at Silver Hollows, there were a lot of trees there that were cut down, but no other trees were planted to replace those that were lost. So I don't know how we can move forward, but I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
So actually, Sustainable Westborough is working on that program, and I talked to Pete Denbeck about it, and I believe it's being rolled into the Climate Action Plan. So I think the board will hear more about it when they present the draft Climate Action Plan at I think your first meeting in March.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Then that's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
There is a.
Oh, sorry.
It is addressed in the Climate Action Plan. I happen to be a participant in that working group, so. It's addressed, and I think we recognize the Selectman Hashmi's point that so hopefully that helps us move towards achieving that aim.
Thanks, Chris. I just thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll jump on that bandwagon just for a moment. I've done some research on some of the both sort of tree cutting as well as tree maintenance and tree management policies that are in other communities. So I'm excited to hear that Sustainable Westborough and through the I almost said Capital Action Plan, Climate Action Plan, that this is being addressed. One of the things I did notice, and honestly I wasn't aware of this until I've read a little bit more, is that we do have. So I encourage the future board to support this when that comes forward. I think it's an important part of creating value in our town, and obviously helping with sustainability and addressing climate change. I did notice that we actually have a public shade tree policy or a bylaw, excuse me, and evidently annually, if there's a list of trees of nuisance or danger, there's a report that's supposed to come to the board by September 1st. I had no idea. And I don't know if we've ever seen that. So I would just maybe encourage Christy, if, Alan, you're raising your hand.
No, this is when you're done.
Okay. So Christy, perhaps you could take a look at that. And evidently, if there's a plan to replace those trees, the board is supposed to be notified by November 1st of that same year. So it just, I think the whole conversation for me is really around, it's important that we maintain trees and that we have a plan to replace them. This is obviously specific to, this bylaw is specific to public shade trees, and that's actually defined by Mass General Law. But I don't know that the board has ever received that report. If we have in my 3 years, I don't recall. So maybe we could just, and maybe there haven't been any nuisance trees. I don't know. So anyway. Yes.
Okay. So I'm also aware that there's a private group of citizens that was starting to organize around this issue. I've been contacted by someone who was helping them. At the time, I had suggested that they reach out to Sustainable Westborough and see if this was part of the climate action plan or if Sustainable Westborough would be involved in this. I don't know if that connection's been made, but I'll reach back out to them and let them know there's progress being made and who they, that they can contact Sustainable Westborough if they want to provide input into the process.
So Alan, is this an extension of the Rotary COTE group?
I'm not sure. That could be a different group.
You can let me know, because I think I was probably having some of those same discussions, and that's how I was made aware of the work that was being done with DBW for Arbor Day to specifically create a special, celebration and event at Armstrong. So maybe we could just compare notes and make sure that
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're watching and be excited to hear about this. So okay. All right, any other discussion on Arbor Day, the Arbor Day proclamation? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, Selectman Hashmi? All right.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes, 4004 being present. Okay, thank you very much. Chris, back-to-back items here. You are on for this one. Christy, if you would, this is regarding request to amend the policy on the sidewalk snow operations.
Yep. So as the board's aware, we updated the sidewalk snow removal policy in November of 2019 after review by the DPW and the school department, as well as the police department, I believe. The policy was intended to clear priority sidewalks. This winter, we were contacted by a resident at Westborough Village who had requested that we clear the sidewalk on Gleason Street between Westborough Village and Fisher. So I actually have the map up. I can show you. I thought I did. So in looking at this with the DPW director, we thought this was a reasonable request. And so there it is. And so we're just amending the policy to reflect the addition of that portion of sidewalk.
Christy, could you just sort of hover over on the map, just because it might be hard for just maybe some landmarks of what we're talking about?
So we were already plowing the sidewalk down Smith Parkway from Otis. And so this would just be an extension from here to Townsend Boulevard. So that would capture access from Westborough Village and Westborough Station.
Right. So makes sense to do this for, lots of people walk to and from. We install those lights, on Smith Valve. So a great decision to extend that policy. Chris, you're in charge of snow operations. Is there anything you want to add at this time?
It totally makes sense. We're already doing it. Tonight, we're just asking you to help us set the paperwork straight so it captures what we're already doing.
Okay. I'll take a motion, then we can have discussion.
Okay, I'll move to approve the amendment to the policy on sidewalk snow removal as presented.
And I'll second that, Selectman Johnson.
Okay. Any discussion by the board? Okay, roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes.
Selectman Johnson?
Yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes, 4004 being present. Again, thank you to our DPW director and town manager to being open to this logical change. Okay, great. Next agenda item is a request to appoint the members of the Land Prioritization Committee. We discussed at a previous board meeting establishing this committee for the purpose of identifying parcels that would be desirable, potentially desirable for the town to acquire, and obviously to understand the potential uses for those properties and to further create a prioritization list for those parcels. The membership of that committee is to include the chief assessor, DPW representative, recreation representative, open space representative, conservation representative, Walkup Robinson representative, planning board representative, school committee representative, and a selectman. At a prior meeting, Selectman Johnson volunteered and was appointed to be the selectman's representative. And so tonight here, we're, as a board, our action is to appoint the committee as a whole. With that, we have the names of those individuals.
Sure, I can make that motion. I move to appoint the following individuals to the Land Prioritization Committee for an indefinite term. Jonathan Steinberg as Chief Assessor, Derek Sari as the DPW representative, Jen Kirkland is the Recreation Commission's representative, Beth Travis is the Open Space Committee's representative, Andrew Konigsberg as the Conservation Commission's representative, Kelly Martson as the Walkup Robinson Trust Fund's representative, Hazel Nurse as the Planning Board's representative, and Steve Durrett as the School Committee representative.
I'll second that motion. Selectman Marshall. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none from the board, roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes.
Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes, 4004 being present. Okay, I do see.
Forward to get started on this, so this is good.
Yeah, no, this is great. Hi, Derek. Thank you for joining us tonight. Were you here? Did you want to add anything to this, or am I missing? Are you here for something else?
Nope, just really look forward to serving on the committee.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right.
Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a really interesting article on.
Wait, Syed, I'm sorry. We can't hear you. If you could.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. There was an interesting article on the New Yorker. I'll forward it to Christy when I get a chance, so she can then forward it to the members of the board of looking at how it's about how the Catholic Church didn't keep track of its properties, but it gives us it demonstrates how you can start looking at your properties in an environmentally friendly fashion. I will send that to Christy when I get a chance. Okay.
Okay, great. Reading material already for the committee. Excellent. All right. Okay, next agenda item is approval of the public health director job. Oh, no, we're skipping over that. I'm sorry. I should have put a big red line through that. Sorry, you guys. I do pay attention. Okay. Request to approve meeting minutes from January 12th. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve our meeting minutes from January 12th, 2021 as presented.
I'll second that, Selectman Johnson.
Okay. I had one minor edit, and of course I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. It was just grammatical. Give me 1 second, please. Sorry, you guys. Under issues and correspondence, Sela, where it says Chair Marshall made comments related to Selectman Johnson's received about high school lights being on. If we could just that read awkwardly to me. So if I made comments in in reference to Selectman Johnson's comment. Just remove the received.
Noted.
Are you guys okay with that amendment?
It's fine.
Okay. As amended, Alan, you okay with that? Okay, yes, okay. Seeing no further discussion, roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes.
Selectman Johnson?
Yes. Johnson,
Selectman-
yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes. 4004 being present. Sheila, thank you as always for keeping us current on minutes. I know they're important to the public. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the town manager's.
As an update for the golf club, or the country club operating committee is wrapping up their meeting schedule as we transition the operation to the recreation department. So I think their expected last meeting will be in March, and then we'll be coming back to this board to talk about how we might incorporate membership into the recreation commission. And then additionally, we've made an offer for the golf manager position that's been verbally accepted. So we're very excited about that. The public health director position, which we brought up earlier, Steve's going to transition from his position as the health director to the DPW engineering inspector on March 8th. In the interim, Ray Gauthier, who's our sanitarian, has been with the town for years, is expected to act as an interim role as we work to fill that position. And this is an appointment of the Board of Health. The Explorer post on July 14th, the post came before the board at the board's request, and there was discussion about the future of their program and the need for space at that their buildings are on. So in the parking lot of the Forbes building, Selectman Edinburgh, Chief Purcell, and I have continued to meet with the Explorer Post board, and the post is working with the fire department on a program that will begin in September of 2021. That will be held at the fire station. So, we'll be asking the post in the future to come back to the selectmen's meeting to round out that discussion. I already gave my update for the Department of Public Works. The finance department is currently working with Unibank, the town's financial advisor, and Standard & Poor's rating agency to renew the town's current short-term ban, which is the bond anticipation note of $53.5 million. The Treasurer Collector's Office has issued 17,000 motor vehicle excise tax bills that are due on March 12th. Those bills can be paid online, in person, or left in the drop box in front of Town Hall. The Assessor's Office has recently completed a long-awaited software update and is busy with real estate and excise tax abatements. And then an update from the Town Clerk is that they're now receiving the census forms along with dog licensing forms. The town election, as we stated, is March 2nd from 8 to 8. The ballot testing was taking place this week. As of today, actually this was last week, they had received 156 ballots had been mailed out for the town election. 18 ballots had been received. And she has approximately 6 volunteers to assist in scanning and entering returned ballots during this week. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Issues and correspondence of the selectmen. Start with Selectman Johnson.
I have nothing this evening.
Well, that was quick.
I tried.
Excuse me, Selectman Hashmi.
Just a couple of things. So I would like, while I did mention this earlier, but I would like to recognize the service of Steve Bakari as the Board of Health Director. And as I mentioned, that I would appreciate a proclamation from him on behalf of the board. The second is, as was mentioned, I would continue to, I think it would be helpful for the board to be appraised of what's going on with the village, from Westborough Village. And the last is, since we were discussing about reaching out to the state representatives, there's been certainly at our last Board of Health meeting, and now I'm just speaking as a selectman, not a Board of Health member, just as a selectman, the Board of Health, encouraged a full return to school. But we have to recognize that these are, very stressful times for our families. Certainly, we just had a full day meeting of the Advisory Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen, and these are stressful times for all of us. So at this point, I think it would be helpful for the board at least to petition our state representatives that if we as a town, as a community, move forward to a in-person learning, which is something the governor is pushing for, which is something the parents are interested in, then we at the very least should be getting $100 per student. And so I'm hoping that the Board of Selectmen will take this under advisement and consider, writing a letter to the board, to our state representatives to get us that additional funding, because we need that funding. And I'm happy to send a draft statement that I've already written so that I can send it to Christy and she can share it with the board.
This isn't exactly what you're speaking about, but I was on a call earlier today with the Lieutenant Governor and a member of the ANF team. And so just as sort of an update related to—
What is ANF, Christy? I'm sorry.
Administration and Finance.
Oh, okay. Oh, A and F. Got it.
Yeah, sorry.
ANF. Sorry.
So they just gave an update related to FEMA public assistance, which is one of the ways that we've been receiving reimbursement for COVID expenses, including school reopening, which is why I'm mentioning it. At the federal level, there's been some program changes by the president, where our reimbursement rate has been increased from 75% to 100% of eligible expenses. They've also expanded the definition of eligible costs, including school reopening. We haven't received guidance from that, so we don't know exactly what that's going to cover, but it'll certainly lead to us reevaluating some of the costs that we have previously put towards other things or did not believe were eligible for FEMA funding. And then there's also a COVID relief package. I think we've all been following this. That was passed at the House Budget Committee, which includes significant resources for municipalities. So there's definitely funding coming our way. I don't know if it's exactly the amount that you're requesting, but I just did want to mention that since you.
Thanks, Christine. I'll send at least my version or draft to you, and you can then pass it on to the board.
Okay.
Anything else, Syed?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. Selectman Edinburgh?
Sorry, mouse trouble, hitting the mute button. Just one thing really quickly. I had a resident reach out to me, basically saying that several people had posted about something on social media, and this resident was wondering why we haven't responded yet. I would say that, well, several members of the board are active in different ways and in different styles and at different times on social media, that we're not going to see or catch everything. Nor is it clear when people are discussing things on social media that they're looking for our response. So if there is a question or an issue, the best way to reach us is selectmen@town.westborough.ma.us. That email goes to the entire board as well as the town manager's office, and those will be evaluated, passed on to appropriate departments, or responded to directly. And so that is the best way. If you have a question for us, the best way to ask the question is to ask us the question directly. Thank you.
Okay, great. I have a couple items. One is I just wanted to update the board of a conversation I had had with Christy regarding VIA and the VIA WRTA service. I had been made aware that there are some pockets of Westborough that are not being serviced currently by VIA. And so I've asked Christy to verify that that's the case and to look into it, because it would seem to me that if we have a pilot program here in Westborough, it should service all of Westborough, particularly that it also touches different towns, Southborough and Northborough. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that. 2 residents had contacted me on that. I also wanted to make the board aware of, I don't know, I must have had a week of reading bylaws because I had nothing to do. And I noticed that in our Westborough bylaws, the language around the trustees of soldiers' memorials That bylaw seems to be in conflict with Mass General Law. So our bylaw, Article 14, Section 2 says membership will be a member of the Board of Selectmen. And when you look at Mass General Law, which is Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 105, it specifically states the chair of the Board of Selectmen. So I don't know when it's appropriate for one to overrule the other, if they have to be aligned. But if we could look into that, that would be helpful. And if it does need to be changed, given the timing of the town meeting being in May, to me, that's a pretty simple change to update our bylaw if we needed to do that. It seems like we have time to do that. Two other thoughts. One is someone had pointed out to me that while we often read our committee openings, that, the boards and committees, and we pull them up on the screen, we don't have a central place where we display that information. At least I'm not aware of it on our website. So I'm wondering through our town manager if we could have, if there's a place on our website to sort of say board and committee openings, not that you have to go and find it in each board or committee. Yep, Christy?
There actually is.
Okay.
If you go,
can you pull that up visually?
Yep. So I'll just show you from the. Oh, sorry. Okay.
That's okay. And I guess I would. Well, when it's really obvious, that I'll hold my comment until you point it out that it's really obvious to me and I missed it.
Well, I mean, it definitely could be, I think we should talk about this at a future goal setting session about, what we might want to do related to the website, but I do, it is there. So this is the homepage. If you go to boards and committees, is that right? I can't see it on my screen. So if you go to boards and committees, it's actually right at the top. Can you see that?
Is it view current vacancies?
There we go. So if you go to boards and committees, it says board and committee vacancies, and the list is we update it. SEAL updates it.
Okay. Well, I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know that was the way to find it, but I guess for all those in the public, we sometimes we know a lot as selectmen, and sometimes we don't. So thank you for pointing that out to us. But yes, Christy, I think that's obviously, as the board so desires to have a discussion about that. I know that our website came up as part of the master plan forum in a couple of different ways. So that's for another day. And then just actually sort of on a related note, Christy, is there a posting of job postings? So when the town is advertising? Yes, Kim, there is. Is it the same place, departments, job postings?
You would go to human resources.
Okay. So it's there under human resources. I don't want to take. Okay, great, fantastic. Someone had asked.
I'll just jump in. That's listed on any of our job ads that get posted. The URL is actually listed.
Okay, great. But, I thought, we have amazing, talented people here in Westborough and who may or may not be out on some of the municipal sites where I know jobs are advertised. So I was hoping it was that those postings were actually on our own website, and it sounds like they are. So fantastic. Yes, Alan?
Yes. So for the last couple months, every other meeting, I've been putting together the slides with the openings for boards and commissions. So I'm happy to share that and coordinate with Sheila so that the website's up to date. I'm noticing the most recent post there's a couple months ago. Also, I'm happy we can provide that. We spoke to Westborough TV actually right before the meeting. If we send them those slides, they could also put it up on the rotation of public service announcements on the Westborough TV channel. So I'm happy to assist with that as needed.
I think it's great. I don't know if if we can just say do it.
Well, how's about I send the slides over to Sheila and Westborough TV and they can tell me to stop if I'm bothering them.
Okay, there you go. All right. Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
So I move that under Mass General Law, we adjourn into executive session, specifically for the purpose to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate, specifically 37 Belknap Street, the property known as 0 Ruggles Street, 64 Otis Street, and also to discuss the strategy with respect to litigation.
I'll second that. Selectman Johnson.
Okay. Roll call vote. Selectman Hashmi?
Yes, just a quick scheduling note. We're starting right after this because the invite says 7:45. We're going to go right into it, right? Yep.
Yes. Yep. Good question. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Selectman Johnson?
Johnson, yes.
Selectman Edinburgh?
Edinburgh, yes.
And Selectman Marshall, yes. As chair, I declare that discussing these matters in open session would be detrimental to our negotiating position, and as such, we will not reconvene in open session. Motion to adjourn? We're done. Thank you very much, Westborough TV, for all of your coverage. We appreciate it.